Welcome to my channel, where we explore the fascinating history and hidden value of America's most collectible coins. Today we are diving deep into four interesting Washington quarters: the 1977 quarter dollar, the 1980 D-quarter dollar, the 1987 D-quarter dollar, and the 1991 D-quarter dollar. Each of these coins may look ordinary at first glance, but behind their simple design lies history, minting details, varieties, errors, and collector demand that can surprise you. Let's begin with the 1977 Washington quarter. The 1977 quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series of the United States, a coin that represents both American history and everyday commerce. This coin was issued by the United States Mint and carries a familiar portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. By 1977, the Washington quarter design had already been in circulation for more than 4 decades, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design was originally intended as a 1-year commemorative issue, but its popularity and practicality ensured its continuation as a regular circulating coin. The obverse of the 1977 quarter features the left-facing portrait of George Washington. The portrait was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials JF appear subtly on the coin. Above Washington's head is the word liberty, a foundational concept in American identity. To the left of the portrait appears the motto, "I in God we trust," and below the bust is the date 1977. The design reflects neoclassical simplicity, with strong lines and dignified detail, symbolizing leadership, stability, and national pride. The reverse of the 1977 quarter displays an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Beneath the arrows are 2 olive branches, representing peace. This combination of arrows and olive branches echoes imagery found on the Great Seal of the United States, emphasizing the balance between military power and peaceful intention. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, and below it is quarter dollar. The motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, appears above the eagle's head, reinforcing the idea of unity among the states. The 1977 quarter was struck in a copper-nickel clad composition, which had become standard for circulating quarters after the removal of silver from regular coinage in 1965. The coin consists of an inner core of pure copper bonded between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives the coin its silvery appearance, while keeping production costs lower than silver coinage. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. The edge of the coin is reeded, with 119 reeds around its circumference, a feature originally intended to prevent shaving of precious metal from coins in earlier eras. In 1977, quarters were produced at 2 main mint facilities, Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint. Coins struck in Philadelphia during this period did not carry a mint mark, as was standard practice at the time. Quarters produced in Denver bear a small D mint mark on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Additionally, proof versions of the 1977 quarter were produced at the San Francisco Mint, carrying the S mint mark. Proof coins were specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets, resulting in mirror-like fields and sharp details. The mintage figures for the 1977 quarter were substantial, as the coin was intended for widespread circulation in a growing economy. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters, and the Denver Mint also struck a similarly large quantity. These high mintages mean that the 1977 quarter is generally common in circulated grades today. The proof mintage from San Francisco was much smaller, but still produced in significant numbers for collectors who purchased annual proof sets. In terms of historical context, 1977 was a period of economic adjustment in the United States. The country was recovering from the economic challenges of the early 1970s, including inflation and the aftermath of the oil crisis. Coin production during this time reflected the steady need for circulating currency as commerce expanded. The quarter dollar, valued at 25 cents, played an important role in everyday transactions, including vending machines, parking meters, laundromats, and public transportation systems. Collectors often evaluate 1977 quarters based on condition, mint mark, and strike quality. Circulated examples typically show were on Washington's hair and the eagle's breast feathers. Uncirculated coins, particularly those graded mint state 65 or higher by professional grading services, can display sharp luster and minimal contact marks. Because of the large mintage, most 1977 quarters in average circulated condition are worth only face value. However, high-grade uncirculated examples or coins with exceptional eye appeal can carry a modest premium among collectors. Proof versions from San Francisco are distinguishable by their reflective surfaces and frosted devices. These coins were not intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors in protective packaging. Deep cameo or ultra cameo proofs, with arrays design elements contrast strongly against mirrored backgrounds, are especially desirable among numismatists. Although the 1977 quarter does not contain silver, it remains an important part of the Washington Quarter series, which continued with the same basic design until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. For collectors assembling date and mint sets of Washington quarters, the 1977 issue represents a standard but necessary component. It provides an example of late 20th century-clad coinage and reflects a design continuity that characterized American coinage for decades. Error coins from 1977 can add interest and value. Examples include off-center strikes, double dies, clip planchets, and coins struck on incorrect planchets. While most 1977 quarters encountered in circulation are ordinary, error varieties discovered in uncirculated condition can command significant premiums, depending on the type and severity of the error. The design of the Washington quarter remained largely unchanged from 1932 until 1998, demonstrating the enduring legacy of its imagery. The portrait by John Flanagan was based loosely on a bust of George Washington, created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Hedon in the 18th century. This artistic lineage connects the modern quarter to early American artistic traditions. For coin roll hunters and casual collectors, the 1977 quarter is frequently encountered in pocket change. Because of its abundance, it is often used as an educational example for beginners learning about mint marks, grading standards, and clad composition. Despite its common status, it holds historical and cultural value as a piece of everyday Americana. The market value of a 1977 quarter depends heavily on grade. Circulated coins generally trade at face value. Uncirculated examples may sell for a small premium, especially in higher mint state grades. Proof coins typically sell for modest amounts, though perfect graded proofs can reach higher prices in the collector market. As with all coins, condition, demand, and certification by reputable grading services influence value. Next, let's talk about the 1980 D Washington quarter. The 1980 D quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series of the United States and represents a typical yet historically meaningful issue from the late 20th century. This coin was produced by the United States Mint and specifically struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark located on the obverse to the right of George Washington's ponytail. By 1980, the Washington quarter design had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, having first debuted in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. Although originally intended as a one-year commemorative design, the coin proved so popular and practical that it became the standard quarter-dollar design for everyday commerce. The obverse of the 1980 D quarter features the familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. The portrait was created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials JF appear at the base of Washington's bust. The word liberty is inscribed above Washington's head, while the motto I in God we trust appears to the left of the portrait. The date 1980 is positioned below the bust. The design reflects neoclassical artistic influence, presenting Washington with a calm, dignified expression that symbolizes leadership, stability, and national unity. The simplicity of the portrait and inscriptions gives the coin a timeless quality that carried through many decades of production. The reverse design displays a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, which represent strength and preparedness to defend the nation. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, symbolizing peace. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, and below it appears $quarter. The motto E pluribus unum is placed above the eagle's head, emphasizing the unity of the states within the nation. This reverse design remained largely unchanged from its introduction in 1932 until the redesign of the quarter in 1999 for the 50-state quarters program. The bold eagle motif reflects traditional American symbolism and connects the coin to the imagery found in other official emblems of the United States. The 1980 D quarter is composed of a copper-nickel clad construction, a standard adopted for circulating quarters beginning in 1965 after the removal of silver from regular coinage. The coin consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This layered structure gives the coin its silver-colored appearance while maintaining durability and reducing production costs. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The edge is reeded, featuring 119 reeds around the circumference. Originally, reeding was used to prevent the shaving of precious metal from silver coins, but it remains a standard design element even on modern clad coins. In 1980, the United States economy was experiencing significant inflation and financial adjustment. Coin production remained high to meet the needs of commerce, and the Denver Mint struck a large quantity of quarters bearing the D Mint mark. Because of substantial mintage, the 1980 D quarter is considered common in circulated grades. Millions of these coins entered circulation and were used daily in vending machines, laundromats, parking meters, grocery stores, and countless other transactions. As a result, most examples found today show varying degrees of wear. Collectors evaluate 1980 D quarters primarily by condition, luster, strike quality, and the presence of any mint errors. In circulated condition, the highest points of Washington's hair and the eagle's breast feathers are the first areas to show wear. Lightly circulated coins may retain some original mint luster, while heavily worn examples often appear dull and smooth in high-relief areas. Uncirculated examples, graded mint state 60 or higher, retain full mint luster and show no signs of wear, though they may exhibit contact marks from storage in bags at the mint. Because of the high mintage, most 1980 D quarters in circulated grades are worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples in higher mint state grades can carry modest premiums among collectors assembling complete Washington quarter-dated mint sets. Coins graded MS-65 or higher, especially those with strong luster and minimal marks, are more desirable. In rare cases, superbly preserved examples certified by professional grading services in MS-67 or above may command significantly higher prices due to their scarcity in such pristine condition. While the 1980 D quarter was not struck in silver for general circulation, special silver-proof quarters were produced in 1980 as part of collector sets, though these were struck at a different mint facility and are distinct from the Denver circulation issue. The Denver Mint focused on mass production for everyday use, meaning that the 1980 D quarter represents a typical clad circulation strike rather than a precious metal collector issue. Error coins from 1980 D can add additional interest for numismatists. Examples may include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, double dies, or coins struck on incorrect planchets intended for other denominations. Such errors are relatively uncommon compared to standard strikes, but when discovered in uncirculated condition, they can command premiums depending on severity and uniqueness of the error. The Washington quarter design in 1980 remained faithful to John Flanagan's original concept, which itself was inspired by an earlier bust of George Washington, created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon in the 18th century. This artistic connection links the modern quarter to early American portraiture and reinforces the coin's historical continuity. For nearly 70 years, Americans handled coins bearing essentially the same design, creating a strong sense of familiarity and tradition. From a broader numismatic perspective, the 1980 D quarter serves as a representative example of late 20th century clad coinage. It reflects the technological efficiency of modern minting processes, including high-speed presses capable of producing thousands of coins per minute. It also represents an era when coinage was purely fiduciary in value, meaning its metal content was worth less than its face value, in contrast to earlier silver issues. For collectors, the 1980 D quarter is an essential component of a complete Washington quarter collection covering the clad era from 1965 through 1998. Although it is not rare, locating a sharply struck, high-grade example with attractive eye appeal can still be rewarding. Many collectors enjoy searching through rolls of quarters in hopes of finding well-preserved specimens suitable for albums or certified grading. Moving on to the 1987 D Washington quarter, this coin has a very interesting story. The 1987 D quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series of the United States and represents an interesting modern issue that holds special importance for collectors. This coin was struck by the United States Mint at the Denver Mint, as shown by the small D mint mark located on the obverse of the coin to the right of George Washington's ponytail. While at first glance it may appear to be just another common Washington quarter, the 1987 D issue is notable because it was not released into general circulation in the usual way. Instead, it was produced only for inclusion in official mint sets sold directly to collectors. The obverse of the 1987 D quarter features a familiar left-facing portrait of George Washington. This design was originally created by sculptor John Flanagan and first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. Above Washington's head appears the word Liberty. To the left of the portrait is the national motto, "In God We Trust," and below the bust is the date 1987. The small D mint mark identifies it as a Denver issue. Flanagan's design was inspired in part by an earlier bust of Washington by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon, giving the coin a classical and historically grounded artistic style. The portrait presents Washington in a calm, dignified manner, reflecting stability, leadership, and national pride. The reverse of the 1987 D quarter displays a heraldic eagle with wings fully spread. The eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing military readiness and strength. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, representing peace. Above the eagle is the inscription United States of America, and below it appears quarter dollar. The motto E pluribus unum is positioned above the eagle's head. This reverse design had been in continuous use since 1932 and would remain unchanged until 1998, just before the launch of the 50 state quarters program in 1999. The eagle motif connects the coin to broader American symbolism found in the Great Seal of the United States and other official emblems. In terms of composition, the 1987 D quarter is made of copper-nickel-clad material. Since 1965, regular circulation quarters have consisted of a pure copper core sandwich between outer layers made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives the coin its silvery appearance, while keeping production costs lower than silver coinage. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The edge is reeded, with 119 reeds around the circumference. Although reeding originally served to prevent the shaving of precious metal from silver coins, it continues as a standard feature on modern quarters. What makes the 1987 D quarter particularly interesting is its limited distribution. In 1987, the United States Mint decided not to release quarters, dimes, or half dollars into general circulation due to sufficient existing supplies of these denominations in Federal Reserve inventories. As a result, the 1987 D quarter was produced only for inclusion in official uncirculated mint sets sold directly to collectors. This means that while millions were still struck, they were not released into everyday commerce at the time of issue. Because of this, finding a worn 1987 D quarter in circulation today usually means it was removed from a mint set and later spent. The mintage of the 1987 D quarter was significantly lower than many other quarters of the 1980s that were released into circulation in massive quantities. However, because collectors save large numbers of mint sets, the coin is not considered rare in uncirculated condition. In fact, most surviving examples are in mint state grades, often with strong luster and minimal wear. Circulated examples are less common simply because they were not originally distributed for general use. From a collector's standpoint, the 1987 D quarter is essential for anyone building a complete Washington quarter set. Even though it is a modern clad coin, it represents a key date within the late Washington quarter series due to its mint set-only status. Values depend largely on condition. In average uncirculated grades, such as MS-60 to MS-63, the coin typically carries a modest premium above face value. Higher grade examples, especially those graded MS-65 or above by professional grading services, can command stronger premiums. Coins certified in superb gem condition, such as MS-67 or higher, are considerably scarcer and can achieve much higher prices in the marketplace. Strike quality on the 1987 D quarter can vary. Some examples show softer detail in Washington's hair or an eagle's breast feathers on the reverse. Collectors often seek coins with sharp strikes, full luster, and minimal contact marks. Because mint set coins were packaged in protective holders, many remain well preserved, though some may show minor toning over time depending on storage conditions. Error varieties are also possible for the 1987 D quarter, though they are not especially common. Examples might include off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planchets, or double die varieties. As with other modern coins, dramatic errors in high grade can attract strong interest from collectors. Historically, the year 1987 falls within a period of economic expansion in the United States during the late 1980s, though it also saw the stock market crash known as Black Monday in October that year. While this economic event does not directly affect a coin's design or composition, it places a coin within a broader historical timeline that collectors often appreciate when studying numismatic material. The Washington quarter design continued unchanged through 1998, after which it was replaced by the 50-state quarter's reverse design beginning in 1999. Therefore, the 1987 D quarter represents one of the later issues of the original eagle reverse type. For collectors who appreciate the long continuity of the Washington quarter design from 1932 to 1998, this coin stands as part of that enduring tradition. Finally, let's discuss the 1991 D Washington quarter. The 1991 D quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series of the United States and represents a standard yet historically meaningful issue from the final decade before the major redesign of the quarter in 1999. This coin was struck by the United States Mint at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located on the obverse of the coin to the right of George Washington's ponytail. Although the 1991 D quarter is not considered rare, it remains an important part of the Washington quarter series and is essential for collectors building a complete data and mint collection of modern U.S. coinage. The obverse of the 1991 D quarter features the well-known left-facing portrait of George Washington. This design was originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. The portrait was created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose initials JF appear at the base of Washington's bust. Above the portrait is the word liberty, symbolizing one of the foundational principles of the United States. To the left of Washington's image is the motto "In God We Trust," and below the bust is the date 1991. The D mint mark signifies that the coin was produced at the Denver facility. Flanagan's portrait was influenced in part by an earlier bust of Washington created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Hedon in the 18th century, giving the coin a classical artistic heritage that connects modern American coinage to early national artistry. The reverse of the 1991 D quarter displays a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide. The eagle stands perched on a bundle of arrows, representing military strength and readiness. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, symbolizing peace. Above the eagle appears the inscription United States of America, and below it is a denomination quarter dollar. The motto E pluribus unum is placed above the eagle's head, reinforcing the concept of unity among the states. This reverse design had been in continuous use since 1932 and will remain in place until 1998, just before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. The eagle motif became one of the most recognizable images in American coinage, symbolizing national identity and continuity. In terms of composition, the 1991 D quarter is made of copper-nickel clad material. Since 1965, regular circulation quarters have consisted of a pure copper core sandwich between two outer layers composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition gives the coin its silver-colored appearance while ensuring durability and cost efficiency. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. The edge is reeded, featuring 119 reeds around its circumference. While reeding originally served to prevent the shaving of precious metal from silver coins, it remains a standard feature even after the transition to clad coinage. The mintage of the 1991 D quarter was substantial, as the coin was intended for widespread circulation throughout the United States. Hundreds of millions of quarters were struck at the Denver Mint in 1991 to meet the needs of commerce. As a result, the 1991 D quarter is considered common in circulated condition. These coins were heavily used in everyday transactions such as vending machines, grocery stores, public transportation, parking meters, and laundromats. Because of their extensive circulation, most examples found today show varying degrees of wear. In circulated grades, the highest points of Washington's hair and the eagle's breast feathers are typically the first areas to exhibit wear. Lightly circulated coins may still retain partial mint luster, while heavily worn examples often appear smooth and dull in high-relief areas. Uncirculated examples, graded mint state 60 or higher, show no evidence of wear and retain their original mint luster. However, even uncirculated coins may display contact marks from being stored in large mint bags before distribution. Because of its high mintage and availability, the 1991 D quarter in circulated condition is generally worth only its face value of 25 cents. Uncirculated examples carry a modest premium, particularly in higher mint state grades, such as MS65 and above. Coins certified in superb gem condition, such as MS67 or higher, are significantly scarcer and can command much higher prices in the collector market. The value of any individual coin depends on factors such as strike quality, luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. In addition to regular circulation strikes, proof quarters dated 1991 were produced at the San Francisco Mint for collectors, though those carry an S mint mark and differ from the Denver issue. The 1991 D quarter was intended specifically for circulation, meaning it does not possess the mirror-like finish of proof coins. Instead, it features a standard business strike finish typical of coins produced for everyday use. Error coins from 1991. D can add interest and potential value for collectors. Possible errors include off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planchets, and double dies. While such errors are relatively uncommon compared to standard strikes, they can attract premiums when discovered in collectible condition. Modern minting technology reduces the frequency of dramatic errors, but they still occur occasionally and are highly sought after by specialists. From a historical perspective, 1991 was a significant year in global events, including the aftermath of the Gulf War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union later that year. Although these events do not directly affect the design of the 1991 D quarter, they provide context for the era in which the coin circulated. The quarter served as a daily medium of exchange during a time of geopolitical change and economic transition. The Washington quarter design, which began in 1932, remained remarkably consistent until 1998. The 1991 D issue is part of the final decade of this original reverse design. In 1999, the quarter underwent a major transformation with the introduction of the 50-state quarters program, which replaced the eagle reverse with rotating state-themed designs. As a result, coins like the 1991 D quarter represent the closing chapter of traditional Washington quarter era that lasted for more than 65 years. For collectors building a complete Washington quarter set from 1965 through 1998, the 1991 D is a necessary and accessible coin. It is commonly found in circulation coin rolls and mint sets, making it relatively easy to obtain in most grades. However, finding exceptionally high-grade examples with sharp strikes and clean surfaces can still present a challenge, especially for those seeking top certified grades. The 1991 D quarter stands as a representation of modern American coinage, durable, practical, and produce in large numbers to support everyday economic activity. So, if you have a 1977 quarter, a 1980 D quarter, a 1987 D quarter, or a 1991 D quarter, take a closer look. Check the mint mark, examine the condition, and look for unusual features. You might just discover that a simple 25-cent coin in your collection holds more history and value than you ever expected. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into rare and valuable U.S. coins. Every coin has a story, and together, we uncover them one piece at a time.